Hello and welcome back to 365 Days with mxmtoon. I'm Maia, a singer, songwriter, videomaker, Oakland native, and a believer in voting rights. I'm also a fan of history. I love untold stories, gross facts, hidden secrets, anything weird, dark, and funky from the past. Each day I'm going to share one of my favorite deep cuts with you, so let's take a look at today's stories.
It's 365 with mxmtoon. New facts every day, so don't leave too soon. I'm gonna teach you stuff, no it won't be tough. Gonna go a year till you've had enough. It's 365 mxmtoon.
Today in 2018, Stacey Abrams won the Democratic primary for Georgia governor, becoming the first Black woman ever nominated for the role in office. Though she wasn't elected, Abrams continued working toward a more fair electoral system in her state, which now makes her one of the most celebrated grassroots political organizers in the country. Let's look back on what Stacey Abrams did to serve her community. A lawyer and author, Abrams first entered the political sphere in 2002 when she was just 29 years old. She was appointed a deputy city attorney for the city of Atlanta, and then in 2006, she was elected to the Georgia House of Representatives. While serving the state, she helped reduce student loan interest rates, passed criminal justice reform, and stopped a major tax increase that would disproportionately affect working-class people. By 2017, after 10 years in the state house, she resigned to run for governor. Abrams' victory in the primary, exactly 3 years ago today, was historic. If she were elected, she would have become the first Black female governor in United States history, but her opponent, Georgia Secretary of State Brian Kemp, was formidable. Georgia hadn't had a Democratic governor since 2003, when the incumbent Democrat Roy Barnes lost his seat to Sonny Perdue, who later served in the U.S. cabinet under Trump's presidency. But Abrams' race against Kemp wasn't a fair fight. In 2017, as Georgia Secretary of State, Kemp's office canceled over 700,000 voter registrations. By fall 2018, right before the election, Kemp's office illegally put 53,000 voter registration applications on hold, 75% of which represented minority voters. After Kemp won the election, the district judge found that these acts violated the Help America Vote Act, a federal law enacted in 2002 to combat voter disenfranchisement. Some people wondered whether Abrams would challenge the election results, since she only lost by 50,000 votes, and her opponent was proven to have played dirty. She didn't contest the results, but she never did formally concede. Instead, she created Fair Fight Action, a nonprofit that educates people about their voting rights and aims to make the electoral process more fair. In the United States' most recent presidential election, only 2/3 of eligible voters cast their ballot. What about the remaining 1/3? Many people don't vote because they're not sure how to register. They make errors in their registration, or they simply don't have the time to get out to the polls. But mail-in ballots and equitable voting laws help make it so that anyone who wants to vote can do so. Since Abrams' defeat in the race for governor, Fair Fight Action and other grassroots organizations registered more than 800,000 new voters. This is especially meaningful for Black voters, who face a disproportionate amount of voter suppression. When Georgian voters chose Joe Biden over Donald Trump in 2020, it was the first time that Georgia had sided with the Democratic presidential candidate since 1992. Biden's margins were narrow, but without Stacey Abrams' work to make sure that as many people as possible had the ability to vote, this would not have been possible. Voter suppression in Georgia has remained a hot topic since the 2020 election. In January 2021, Senators Jon Ossoff and Reverend Warnock were narrowly elected in a runoff race. That means that in November, the election was too close to call, so the candidates campaigned for another 2 months before people voted again. Warnock made history as the first Black senator from Georgia, and Ossoff was the first Jewish senator from the state, too. Their seats gave the Democratic Party a slim majority in the Senate. If it weren't for that Senate majority, it's unlikely that Biden's COVID relief bill would have passed. So, as vaccination efforts speed up and COVID cases decline, remember that you have Stacey Abrams to thank. The United States was founded on the idea that the people should choose who represents them in government. However, we don't live in a true democracy until any adult who wants to vote has the ability to do so. Recently, the Republican-controlled Georgia state legislature passed a law that would make it more difficult for people in Georgia to vote. The law narrows the window during which people can register for absentee ballots, cuts the number of ballot drop boxes, and makes it more difficult to extend voting hours at polling places. Voters already face struggles like long lines when voting, and it's normally common practice for activists to hand out water bottles or snacks to help people stay in line. But now, handing out food or water is illegal in Georgia. This new law is a setback, but still, Stacey Abrams and organizers like her have made incredible strides so that more people than ever can participate in the democratic process. Now, let's talk about music. On this day in 2019, Rocket Man debuted in UK theaters. This biographical film about British musician Elton John stars Taron Egerton as he collaborates with Bernie Taupin, played by Jamie Bell, to become one of the most famous singer-songwriters of his generation. The film was historic, as the first production by a major studio to include a gay sex scene, and Egerton went on to win the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a musical or comedy. Through a selection of Elton John's most famous songs like Tiny Dancer, Your Song, and Benny and the Jets, Rocket Man looks at the challenges throughout the star's life with addiction and homophobia. Now, Sir Elton John has been sober for 30 years, and he's a passionate advocate for HIV and AIDS research. And now for our final segment of today's show, I'm going to be going back into my own photo archives to see what I was up to on May 22nd in my life. On May 22nd, 2017, I finished an architecture project that I was making with my brother in our class that we took together in high school. We designed a sustainable, eco-friendly Center for the Arts, and we made a model of it. It's pretty, honestly, very impressive. I'm still very proud of this model. But yeah, I studied architecture for 3 years in high school, and I was very lucky to be able to take 2 of those years with my brother in my class because we went to the same school and got to sign up for the same classes sometimes, and our teacher knew that we worked really well together. But my brother and I worked on a handful of projects together throughout high school, and that was one of them. He did most of the model making. I was not very good at detailness of making physical objects, and I did all of the drawing and drafting that we do with like blueprints or floor plans and isometrics or whatever sort of things we needed. Thanks for going back in time with me, and remember to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can come back tomorrow for more stories from yesteryear.
It's 365 with mxmtoon. New facts every day, so don't leave too soon. I'm gonna teach you stuff, no it won't be tough. Gonna go a year till you've had enough. It's 360